Canobie Lake Park in Salem, New Hampshire has 4 roller coasters. In today's Coaster Countdown, we'll be doing the top 4 roller coasters at Canobie Lake Park. Canobie Lake Park is located in Salem, New Hampshire, which I said has 4 roller coasters. They have a Gersal Eurofighter, a PTC Woody, an Aerodynamics Custom Looper, and a kiddie coaster, Orient Express. So today we'll be discussing my top 4. Now, Canobie Lake Park doesn't really much have a good coaster lineup. It's kind of mediocre, so, or maybe kind of bad as well. But this is my personal top 20 of this is my personal top 4 of my favorite of the top 4 coasters at Canobie. We're going to be starting from the worst, going to the best. So before we start with the top 3, here's one coaster that just didn't quite make the list. Number 4 is Kiddie Dragon Coaster, and this is the kiddie coaster in the park. It's kind of like an Orient Express coaster with power wheels, kind of like what Pal's Playland has with their Orient Express in Maine. So it's pretty much like a kiddie coaster. It's nothing like standardable. I think kids will like it. This is meant for the kids, so I think kids will definitely like it. But like I said, it's kind of like more towards the families than like young coaster than like other coaster enthusiasts. Coaster enthusiasts will definitely get a credit on this coaster. But this coaster, I think I think the kids will like the Helix probably, but maybe some coaster enthusiasts might like it either. But it's generally kind of more just towards the kids. So now we have come to the top 3. Number 3, starting off the top 3, is Canobie Corkscrew. Gosh, what a sucky roller coaster. One of the worst roller coasters I have ever ridden. I've ridden over 100 roller coasters. This is like down to probably like in the 90s, because this is like one of the worst roller coasters I have ever ridden. This ride is so rough. This ride is bumpy. It gives me a headache every time when I go to the park. It's just not an enjoyable ride. I would love to see Canobie Lake Park just get rid of this ride. I do know that it is actually historic because it was from a museum back in, like, from Chicago in, like, in the 1970s. So it was from, like, Chicago. So this coaster has some history behind it since it just got moved to Chicago, from Chicago. But, man, I just don't like it. It's a crappy roller coaster. One of the worst roller coasters I've ever ridden. But I can respect its history behind it. So, yeah. So, number 2, I think a lot of people are going to disagree with. This is Untamed, taking number 2. I think a lot of people are rolling their eyes saying, yo, JJ, this coaster should be the best coaster in the park. It should be number 1. Well, so here's my complaint on why it's not coming at number 1 and it's coming at number 2. First of all, this coaster is extremely rough. It looks smooth from the footage, yes, but this coaster is extremely rough when you ride it. It's not that smooth at all. I think the smoothest parts on the coaster would definitely be like the vertical drop or the vertical loop. But man, this ride is extremely rough. It is like, especially that helix. That helix before the roll, that's like a really rough part. Vertical loop kind of felt smooth, but man, this ride is like jerkiness, and the restraints are awful too. Over your shoulder restraints are garbage on this coaster. It has over your shoulder restraints that your ears can like jab into the sharp edges. So yeah. So what could be taken number 1? It's going to be Yankee Cannonball. This is my personal favorite coaster at Canobie Lake Park, and this is probably my favorite coaster of vintage. A lot of people could have a debate either like Yankee Cannonball taking number 1 or Untamed taking number 1. Yes, people are going to argue over this list. I think a lot of people are going to argue with this list that Untamed should be number 1 in the park. But Yankee Cannonball is number 1 in my opinion in the park because it is smooth. It is one of the smoothest wooded roller coasters I've ever ridden, and it's running over 80. It is like over 80 years old, and it's running really glossy smooth. This is a really fun ride. I think this might be also my favorite vintage wooded roller coaster I've ridden. I think this is better than like Jackrabbit at Kennywood or like Comet at Hershey Park. But this ride is so fun. The airtime is just awesome as well. You would definitely like this ride, even though I mean, stats are not impressive. It's the smoothest that, and the airtime just makes it good. Even though people say Untamed might be better, I like Yankee Cannonball. So yeah. Before I end this video, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Xander from Costa Rica. He was the one that guessed my top 4 correct at Canobie Lake Park. So congrats to Xander. He guessed number 1 Yankee Cannonball, number 2 Untamed, number 3 Corkscrew, and number 4 Kitty Dragon Coaster. So congrats to him. I'm also the guessing was also from Instagram. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram, don't forget to check out my Instagram. The link will be in the description. Also, if you guys are new to Coaster Box, don't forget to check out my latest videos, such as Mystic Timbers reviews or Steel Vengeance reviews. They are also on my YouTube channel, so if you guys want to check it out, I did do Mystic Timbers and Steel Vengeance. If you haven't checked them out yet, and if you want to, you can go right ahead. So that is it for my top 4 coasters at Canobie Lake Park. There might be a lot of eye-rolling with Untamed and Yankee Cannonball, saying Untamed should be number 1 in the park. But Yankee Cannonball is number 1 in my opinion. So that is it for my top 4 at Canobie. Stay tuned for more Coaster Box videos. They'll be coming out shortly. Follow me on Instagram. Link will be in the description for Instagram. Link will be in the description. Subscribe for more Coaster Box, and I'll catch you guys later. Share, like, and subscribe. Something just like